quickly reading this, this is a client who has been getting properties and has now chosen the properties that they want to see, and we need to make the appointments for them. Here's the client's name, Marsha James. Here's the client's email, and we will normally include the phone number also. For right now, for these purposes, this is what you'll be looking at. These happen to be MLS numbers. Sometimes they'll come with addresses, and I'll show you how to do that. So now that we have an email that has been sent from one of the agents, they'll be in different views. This particular one has the MLS numbers. You can search by the MLS. Some will have addresses. Some will only be one property. Some will have a little gray link and with just the property information for just one property. But this particular client has been sent a search. We know that because this email looks like this. This is how they receive it with the link to the properties. They would click on this link. It would open up in a new window and they would be able to see the properties. If there's other properties, they can move along with the arrow and select the different properties. They can also click here to see the different pictures. They can also expand the window and see the pictures in a larger format. You may need to explain that to them every once in a while because sometimes they don't realize that they have the arrows here and they think we only sent them one property. On this particular unit, this is already pending. So by the time we sent it to them and they got back to us, the property's already under contract. So it's going to be very important that you check each and every property that we send you with the agent to verify that the property is still available. Just because it says it's available might not necessarily mean it's available. It could have been rented or bought, and the listing agent has not had the time to change the status. The last thing we want is to be sent on listing appointments or showing appointments on properties that are no longer available. We could possibly get a client excited about the property, come back, write up an offer, gather all the information, send it in to the listing agent to find out that it's not available and it was a complete waste of time. We do not, under any circumstances, want that to happen. So we must be thorough and we must make sure that the properties are available, and we'll go into that, how we do that momentarily. So we're going back to the email, and this one has been forwarded. So basically what they did was they received this email, then they replied to the email with their choices. So now it's time to get to work and get that appointment set up. So we're going to need to do two things. We're going to need to find out the availability of these properties. So we're going to have to look them up on the MLS, contact the agents, and then we're going to have to put them onto the calendar for any particular agent. So we're going to use myself as the agent in this particular. So we're going to open up a new tab and we're going to click right here. That's your MLS. That's how you will look for properties. You need to see that it says MiamiRE.com. You will scroll down and you will click on the large Miami Gateway access button. Go ahead and click that. That'll bring you up to another screen. You'll click on Login and you'll put in your specific login that you have been given. That will bring you up to this screen. On this screen, you will click on Fusion. Soon we'll be moving to Matrix, but for right now, this will be taught under Fusion. Once you click on Fusion, you might get this arrow. Just click Activate Adobe Flash, Allow, and Remember. Now, sometimes this system gets stuck and it appears to be loading, then it stops loading, and you might have to click this again and redo it. So now this is the dashboard of the MLS. When you're looking for properties quickly or some addresses, you can default to this home screen. If you're looking for some ML numbers, which this particular one is using ML numbers, you can put them here separated by commas. You will also use this button. You'll click on this particular button, just hit the search, and the search will come up. Ben's Simple Search is the search that you'll want to use. Ben's Simple Search sets up with the county, the cities already. This is for properties that are not for people that are 55 and over. You'll just be concerned with a few of these fields when it's time to do a search. So for right now, we're going to go back to the home screen and we're going to grab these ML numbers one by one and separate them with a comma. This one didn't have the letter corresponding, so we're just going to practice with these three. All right, so you have 3. Now, they'll probably be gone by now because this is already a week old. I've already gone out with this client. I'm just using it as an experiment. So 2 of these properties are gone already. You can tell because the status says PS. Now, sometimes you'll put in an address for a property and there'll be a whole bunch of places because it might be a building with 50 units. So it's putting in all of the units. So what you always want to do is you always want to click status so that it changes it and sorts it alphabetically. That way the A's, which is the active properties, come first. So in this particular search, there are 3 properties. 2 of them are already gone. So you're going to need to notate that on the calendar. So once we choose it, we want to go to the details area. So you click on this arrow, and that brings you to the details area. And this is in full view, what we call full view. So here is the link to schedule a showing. So if you wanted to schedule a showing, you would click this button. It would pop a box up. You would have the email set up and the cell phone to text. So you would get the text alert of any particular property that was available. You would then say, schedule a single showing. Sometimes a box comes up that has the lockbox information. Sometimes this box comes up and you want to know when it is you'll be wanting to show that property. So for instance, if Marcia wanted to go at 11 o'clock on Saturday, well, the first property you're going to look up, you're going to want to do it for 11 o'clock on Saturday. The second property you look up, if it's the same way, you'll want to do it for 11:30 on Saturday. If there's a third property and you're looking it up and it comes to this screen, you'll want to do it for 12 o'clock on Saturday, and so on. You want to try to give 30 minutes in between appointments roughly in order for us to show the property, discuss the property, and drive to the next property. We can do it in as little as 15 minutes if the properties are close to each other. So right now we're going to click on 11 and we're going to click continue because that's what we want. The next box is going to ask me if it's the first showing. In general, it's going to be the first showing. Sometimes, very rarely, we'll have a second showing. So you hit yes, and then we will be notified according to the information you gave, the phone number and the text and the email, and they will notify you if the property is available to show. So now it's time to input that into our schedule. So we're going to open up another tab and we're going to go to our calendar. And we're going to go to this calendar or a calendar that is assigned to you. Your calendar will show all the agents. Okay? So right here in green is Ben Garcia. So if we were to be showing it today at 11, here is where we would click and we would want to make sure it's Ben Garcia. TBA Ben is a holding spot for some if we're working on it and we're not sure it's going to be an appointment. So in general, you'll just do it to Ben Garcia. You'll put in the client's name, which was Marcia James, and her email. And we will pretend that we have her phone number also. So we'll put in Marcia James, 954-620-7026. Okay. And I like this nice and neat. every time to be the same way so it's very clear. And now we're going to create the event. So now you've saved the slot, okay? Remember, 30 minutes for each appointment. So we really only have one appointment, so we really don't need a full hour. And I would suggest you do that. So right now we have Marcia. So now we're going to click on Marcia and we're going to edit it. What we're going to do first is we're going to put in the address of the first place we're going to go to. Now we know we only have one place, but we still don't actually know that it's available because we have not gotten it confirmed yet from the agent. So we are going to put up the address and we're going to get it from here. This is the address. And when you put it here, you'll see it gives you the options of the towns. So you want to make sure that you look and you see what town it is. This is the city, Pembroke Pines. So you see Google Maps knows Pembroke Pines. Then you'll take that and you'll copy it and you'll put it right here because we want to know where we're going to first. Now, you'll want to, on the next line, it's the lockbox information. How do we get in? So right now, the lockbox is requested a showing. I know that that means you requested a showing and you haven't gotten the lockbox information. On the next line, what we're going to do is we need to get the link to this information so we can get it on our devices, either our phone or our tablets. And the way to do that is to just choose one property at a time. I do not want the link to the multiple properties. You're going to do this one property at a time. You're going to click email. So you're going to want the single record. And then you're going to scroll down to full view. Sometimes it's up, sometimes it's down, depending on what type of transaction it is. So full view is what we are looking for. Now, it's going to get ready to do an email, but you're not actually going to email. You're going to click on this link that says RNT Full View like we did on the previous one. And that will create the entire full view. So what I'm looking for is this link to be put in my calendar under the property. So I can just click it and see it in full view. I want to be able to see it like this on my phone. So then underneath that link is I want the information of who is the agent and what is their phone number. So here is the agent. If you scroll down, this is the agent phone number right here and their identification number. So we're going to put it right underneath, and then we're going to put her phone number next. And you'll see right there under the remarks, this is the broker remarks. You'll always check the broker remarks to find out if there's any special instructions. And here you can see that for showings, please contact Christina. So that's what we want to do. So although we already did a schedule a showing, it's really telling you to contact Christina. So we're always going to do this anyway. We're going to, even though we request a showing and we get the lockbox, remember that does not mean that the property is available. So you're going to have to text the agent, and I want you to text this. Hello, Christina. I would like to know if 9615 Northwest First Court in Pembroke Pines is still available. I would like to show it today at 11. And that's how you text them. And then if you're using your own phone locally, you can save them so that you know who you're texting, so you can put them in your phone. Christina, her last name, and a realtor, for instance. So a now you've put your first property up completely. If you get the lockbox number, you will replace request to showing with the lockbox number. Okay? If it's an electronic lockbox, they will tell you it's on Supra. And you just write Supra. I know what that is. Supra is an electronic lockbox. Sometimes they'll say there's a call before showing code. It's a CBS code. You'll say CBS code and you'll give me that number. And I know that I have to put in that number prior to putting in my own code. Okay? So you'll either have an electronic box, a Supra, or a regular box that has a combination. It could be letters and it could be numbers. And sometimes the Supra has an extra layer of security called a call before showing code. That is a special code given before you can access the electronic box. What that does is it eliminates people from seeing an electronic lockbox and opening it with their electronic key. So without the extra code, you cannot open that box. It's just an extra layer of security. So then what you'll do is you'll create a little space and you'll start with the next property. Now, in this particular instance, we have two properties that are no longer available. Anything that is no longer available will go under the X's. So here is the end. Okay, if you have other properties that are good, that are ready to go, they can be put right here. Okay, etc. with their lockbox information. Okay, and the rest of the information. On the properties, this can keep going down, and then you'll finally get to the place where the properties are not available and you'll put them underneath. So what I do is I can have a conversation with the person and tell them, yes, because they'll ask us, they'll say, well, what happened to the other two properties? And I can say, oh, these two properties were no longer available. And you can just do it this way. It doesn't have to be too complicated. You could just put right here, pending, and then put the next one and copy this just so I can tell them pending. Just so I can tell them, oh yes, look, we did look them up and they came back pending. That way they don't think that we have forgotten the properties that they gave us. Periodically save while you're doing this, especially if you're doing a few at a time, because you are going to be doing many things at the same time, and if you forget to save, that's a lot of work that you've done and you have to redo, and we don't want that. So currently Marcia James is one particular property. Now let's go back in the calendar just to look and see what properties look like pretty much on a regular basis. Okay, so let's just see this particular instance. Normally what you're going to get is you're going to get the blurb of what this customer was about. That's going to go in advance of any properties. So when we're out there, we know who we're talking to. Now, they comes to us in an email, and the way it comes, I'll show you shortly. When they respond to our email, or it could come now in a PDF. You're going to copy that information. You're going to put it right here for us. So when we're out on the street, we can have a conversation. Oh, I see you used to live in Coral Gables. Oh, I see your household income is 9,700. You'll just be copying and pasting that information. And then, look, I have a cat, so I know that all of these have got to be pet friendly. And this is how the appointments end up looking. Like you can add extra information, waiting on final okay. Okay, this means called, confirmed, and verified. See notes, knock first. Access, C, Supra with CBS code. Access, confirmed agent will be there. Lockbox. You see the different versions of access? Lockbox. Requested a showing. Still not answered. So this particular property, by the time we went out, they did find that they had a lockbox. So we did get a lockbox. That's why it's above the X. This particular one we did not. This should, by the time we go to an appointment, this should be below the X's. We don't want to get confused because we might drive out to this property and find out that when we got there we didn't have the information. It just says call listing agent. We don't want to drive out there and not know, whether we can even access the property or not. Okay, so that's going to be it in a nutshell. Once you do that and you hit save, it automatically appears. You don't have to notify us anymore. The only thing you would want to notify us is, like we spoke about, the there's only one when you try to get five, and we might want to get others, and you'll learn all that stuff as we go along, and with time. So that's the general way to get the properties that we've chosen onto the calendar.